I think I killed the Ninja.
Gear up and get outside.
You know what? It looks like I did not kill the Ninja. A few scuffs, but nothing that's gonna last. Dadgum. Cooler wins again. Well, I tried to beat it up, but turns out this thing is pretty darn durable. So what cooler is this anyway? This is the Ninja FrostVault 65 quart cooler with wheels. The dry zone and the FrostVault components are probably the most unique feature of this. And this is a company that is known for marketing really well. Ninja, same company that makes the blenders and everything else. And on this one, they have one feature that might be thought of as a gimmick by some, but today we're gonna find out if it is or not. You're also gonna wanna stick around to the end because I'm going to show you the results of an ice retention test I did with this cooler and 53 others, and we're gonna see how this one specifically did. But you're really gonna wanna see what my friend John has to say at the end. He had zero preconceived notions about this cooler. Didn't know anything about it, but he took it on an actual camp out with his family, and I think you're going to appreciate what he has to say. This is an injection molded cooler. That means it's highly durable plastic, but it's not the same as a roto-molded cooler like a Yeti Tundra, for example. But this is no lightweight. This still weighs 40.5 pounds without anything in it. You add in 30 or 40 pounds of ice and all your drinks and food, and this thing is going to be a behemoth, which makes me grateful to have wheels on it and a very nice tow handle. And I will say both those components are very nice indeed. The wheels are never flat, they're not inflatable, they're a plastic or polymer wheel, and this handle is very ergonomic. It doesn't slam down on you, it has a good grip, and I like that the handle goes out in a T so that you can stand to the side of it while you pull it so it doesn't hit you in the calves. This size, 65 quarts, should hold 97 cans total with nothing else in it, or about 55 cans, they say, with 30 pounds of ice. To the very right here, it is deeper, deep enough to hold a wine bottle or something like that. That's also where the drain plug is, which is the lowest point, so it should drain rather efficiently. It's got all the standard features you would expect out of a cooler, plus a few bonuses. I really like the latch. It's easy to activate, there's only one of them, you can do it single-handed while you got your other arm full of stuff. It's got holes here to be able to lock your cooler. It even has two decent and functional cup holders on top. It's got slots on either side to run a tie-down strap through so that you can strap it down tight on the back of a truck or a trailer. It also has a very functional freezer gasket, which is key in coolers that are really going to keep ice cold for days, and that is what they advertise. Cold for days. Doesn't say how many days, but we're gonna test that. I like that the drain plug is a male plug, and it also is tethered to the cooler so you're not gonna lose it like I have on a Yeti. It has slots inside so that you can get dividers if you wish. There are additional accessories available for it for purchase. One thing I see that it does not have that a lot of coolers have nowadays is a bottle opener, but that's fine by me. Other than looking good and feeling good, at the end of the day, it's really just a cooler. So why then do I have more requests to review this cooler than any other cooler out there? This is probably the most hyped, the most interesting, the most well marketed, and the most sold new cooler that I've seen in the last 5 years. So there's something different about it because some people are downright pestering me about reviewing this cooler. So this 65 quart cooler is the biggest Ninja FrostVault they make. It costs $350. That is not a little bit of money. That's actually quite a bit of money.
Show me the money!
But I also gotta say, it's reasonable when it comes to these premium coolers. It's definitely in the ballpark and not the most expensive by a long shot. They also make the Ninja FrostVault with wheels in a 30 quart and a 45 quart size, and then you can get it without wheels in either a 30 quart or a 50 quart size. All of their FrostVault coolers come with a 5-year warranty. But if these hard coolers seem overkill for you, then you might look at the Ninja FrostVault Go, which is a soft cooler version that still has that little dry zone drawer beneath. Speaking of which, that is what this cooler is all about. A company like Ninja has a lot of dollars to spend on marketing, and boy howdy have they spent a lot of dollars on this. This is their dry zone, the vault from which the FrostVault gets its name, and the whole idea is that you can put your food in here and keep it dry. It's not gonna be bobbing around in your soggy ice water up with your drinks. It's not gonna get your bread soaking wet and soggy and that sort of thing. It's gonna keep it dry and keep it cool. But will it? Honestly, when I first saw this cooler, I thought that is a gimmick because this doesn't feel like super thick or super durable. So how could that really keep it cold? But as you look closer, you start to feel things like, oh my goodness, there's a little freezer gasket right under here as well. That's what this is going to go up against. There's insulation right here. Heat rises, cold air falls. So does it actually work? Would it actually keep your meat, your veggies, your fruits cold and dry like a refrigerator at home? I wasn't entirely sure, so I had to test it. All right, so I'm doing a real big cooler ice retention challenge right now with 54 different coolers, but I wanted to take a look at the Ninja FrostVault individually. When I do these cooler tests, I take 4 observations. The first is, what is the temperature reading of the lid when shot with an infrared thermometer? I'm looking for a temperature at or below 50 degrees. I also look to see if ice is present. Yes or no, pass, fail. Then I look to see if the soda cans I put in there are sitting on top of the ice or if they're bobbing in the water. So that's a point or not. And lastly, I take this meat thermometer, just a little pin thermometer, and I've got an individually wrapped hot dog inside the cooler. And I'm just gonna stick that thermometer in the hot dog, and I'm gonna look for a temperature reading at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the FDA approved food safe temperature. This one's reading about 35, so we are just fine. Stick that back in the ice, and that's it. I also have a Bluetooth thermometer in here to be able to track the internal air temperature over time until the ice is gone, and that sometimes gives us some more insight as to what's going on. So we'll look at that as well. That's how this cooler test is gonna work. I close it up, I latch it tight, and I do like that latch quite a bit, by the way, and then I'll come back tomorrow and do it. So I do that once per day until the ice is gone. Each of those observations is worth 1 chill point, pass, fail. We add up the total chill points, and that's how I compare it against other coolers. So I'll give you an indication of what that looks like too. As an added measure, because this one has this drawer that they like to talk about, I put a Bluetooth thermometer in this drawer as well, and also a hot dog so that we could take an additional temperature reading. Now it has been 24 hours since this test started. There's a hot dog sitting in there, and you can read the thermometer yourself. It's pretty darn close to 40 degrees, but is it gonna get down there? It's 41. Honestly, it's cooler than I expected. I thought this was gonna be a gimmick. I'm very interested to see if that holds, but yeah, shoot, I'd eat that hot dog, why not? I wouldn't be worried about it. Nice and dry, does feel cool in there. Day 4 of this cooler ice test. That means it has been 3 days since I put ice in this Ninja FrostVault. Let's see how it looks inside. Open it up here. It is in the sun a little bit at this time of day, but only for about an hour or so. There we have it. Still plenty of ice, but definitely a lot of water. And those sodas are bobbing now, so when I do my chill points, it loses a point for that. But the hot dog is still cold, and it was still cold on the lid. It's still doing quite well. If we want to just compare real quick to this Yeti Tundra right next to it, you can see it looks pretty similar. All right, it is day 5, and here you can see still plenty of ice in there. This is getting 3 out of 4 chill points for the day, which is at or above average compared to all these other coolers I'm testing right now. Let's also take a look inside the vault. I'm just gonna shoot this in there. It's not the best indication, but it'll give, oh, look at that. That's actually pretty darn impressive. Down in the 30s. I gotta say, they might be onto something here. Wouldn't be surprised if other cooler companies start doing that too. Day 6, that means 5 days have passed. We still see ice. That is good. Still a cold lid. That hot dog is below 40 degrees. So 3 out of 4 chill points today. Let's just take a look inside the vault. Turn there just for kicks. Look at that. Man, I am still impressed. Okay, so the Ninja FrostVault so far has gotten 5 full days of ice retention, and that's just being filled 2/3 of the way with ice. Day 7, that means 6 days have passed, and I have some bad news. The Ninja FrostVault has completely run out of ice. But this is sort of interesting. If we look here in the drawer, take a measurement there, it's at 52 degrees, even though it's even warmer above. So that whole principle of keeping things cooled down low appears to be legit. Although when we measure that hot dog temperature, it's in the low 50s, it looks like to me. So in my ice retention test, the Ninja FrostVault lasted 5 full days and then some with ice, which is above average for the whole group. It got 21 chill points, which is also above average. Out of 26 large size coolers in the test, it tied for 10th place. And it tied for 16th place overall out of 54 coolers. That is not bad at all. But what really blew my mind is what I saw inside. Just take a look at the internal air temperature graph here. You can see that the temperature inside the main compartment of the cooler ranged from around 35 degrees Fahrenheit at night up to about 45 degrees at the hottest part of the day. It spiked a little bit whenever I opened the cooler to do my observations. Compared to many other coolers that I've done this test with, that is pretty typical of a good quality cooler, and it's far better than the crappy ones. But what about that drawer? The one feature Ninja decided to spend all of its marketing budget on because it should keep your food at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, a food-safe temperature. Did it really do that? Check out this graph. In the end, that hot air does rise and the cool air does fall. Science, am I right? As you can see, the red line, which represents the temperature in the drawer, tracks pretty darn smooth and steady compared to the air temperature at the top of the main compartment of the cooler. Holy smokes, it really works. While it did go above 40 when I opened it, or at the hottest part of the day by a degree or two, that's enough to convince me that it will keep my food cold and safe to eat. I'm honestly impressed at how consistent the temperature was in that drawer. Mind you, this was mostly air inside that drawer. There was the hot dog, but normally you're gonna wanna pack that thing full with cold food because then you'd have more thermal mass and it would stay colder longer. This is how I think you'll get the best results out of this drawer. First, put a bag of ice inside the cooler the day before you're gonna pack it to leave on your trip. Also, put all the contents you wanna pack inside your cooler, both in the main compartment and in the drawer, in the fridge the night before. The next morning, you fill it with ice as you need to, and you're going to put your cold contents in the drawer directly. Close that up. Now it's already cold and it's going to stay colder longer. So now we know it's a decent cooler. The price is reasonably in the ballpark for a premium cooler. It's above average when it comes to ice retention, and that drawer seems to really work. But none of that matters if you don't like it when you go to actually use it.
We did a family reunion. We needed a cooler, so Chase suggested the FrostVault. And I didn't really know much about it apart from it was kind of had a little bit of buzz. So we brought the cooler and my experience with it was actually excellent. It's a very sturdy cooler. It has a very nice little arrangement because the way it's arranged on the inside, it has a little bit of an inset in the bottom that accommodate the drawer, which goes underneath there. And so that little slot right there was great for we had a gallon of milk and a gallon of orange juice that we put in that little slot. And what happened was all the cold water and everything kind of cascaded down into that little hole, and it really was great because it kept those things exceptionally cool. You know, sometimes as the water level drops, as the ice drops, you get less and less coverage. So that was actually kind of nice. I don't know if they designed it like that, but it did work that way. And then of course the drawer itself. The drawer was incredible. I was skeptical. I'm always skeptical of sort of gimmicky things like drawers and so forth. But we had a couple sticks of butter. We had some blueberries, some raspberries. You know, you get those wet and they kind of just go floating in there. And, and sometimes the net or the basket helps. But this was very, very well organized and it kept them cold. And there were other things in there also, but my wife was over the moon about it because she kept those things orderly, and the small things which end up just floating in the ice and the water and just get lost in the melee.
So it actually kept the food cold in that drawer.
It did. It did a very good job. The other thing that I really appreciated about it was the wheels and the handle are nice and big. And because I rolled from our campsite, which was probably at least 300 yards, to the main campsite where the group gathered. And so I drug it back and forth 5 times. I mean, I was going over little curbs and going through gravel, you know, like campsite. And it went back and forth with no problem. I would buy one of those.
Nice.
So it was an excellent cooler.
There you have it. John likes it, his wife liked it, I like it, maybe you'll like it too. The Ninja FrostVault isn't all marketing hype. As it turns out, it's a pretty decent cooler. Now, one thing I don't like about it is that it is not IGBC bear resistant certified. In order to do that, Ninja would have to send this off to the IGBC for testing. Then they'd get the stamp of approval that yes, it's gonna survive bears getting into it or not. And the purpose of that is so that when you're in areas with bears, you're not putting the bears at risk by giving them easy access to food. That puts bears' lives at risk because if they bother campers too much, they're gonna get euthanized. So I'd like to see Ninja get this certified. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of criticism about it. It's a great cooler. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch this video next so you can see all those 54 coolers being tested for ice retention. Now gear up and get outside.